Hey. Hope you guys are cool. Guys out here. Good morning. Hope you guys are great. So let me check something. Sorry for being quite lost. Guys, I was checking something. Okay, so that seems to have started. Okay, let's making sure everything is where it should be. I'm checking to make sure my live is caught up to where it should be. Good. Hope you guys are cool. All right. Yes, that's here. Hope you're brilliant. Hope you're having a great day. I don't know if you noticed any change. Spot the difference, in case you haven't. So I come bearing gifts. And basically, yeah. So in case you haven't noticed, there's music playing in the background. So I haven't played music before, but I wanted to make sure everything was fine, audioly. So I think we're there. I think we're in a good place. I think we're alone now, so I think we should be good. Hope you guys are having a great day. Sorry for taking a while to get live. I had a few things on my end to take care of. It was a bit of a mess that needed to be cleaned up. I have to do that fairly often, and that's part of life again. And basically, very, very happy to be here right now with you guys. Hope you guys are having a great time. This is Yazat, as an author. This is just joining this channel. Hope you're cool and having yourselves a great time. Having yourselves a great day today. Without further ado, let's get stuck into things. I don't know how long this live is going to be. It will be pending how long it take me to finish this piece. I initially had this piece finished yesterday, but I decided to make a few changes and do something different. But I've been explaining in the past how important it is to always have a mindset of spontaneity. It's always good to be spontaneous when you think about what you're trying to achieve, and that also goes for digital art. So right now I'm kind of deciding what I'm going to do next. Let's go straight in and just do some stuff. I'm going to now add some extra stuff on the wall time. I'm not sure I will do that yet. I'm gonna decide to add some extra stuff in terms of adding greenery and all whatnot to my drawing. So we start with some greenery first. Let's see what we can do there. I'm adding a new layer. Call it greenery. Just to make things more interesting. I want to select the color green. I'm going to go from there. If you have any questions or queries, feel free to send me a chat. Also, feel free to follow me. I would love to have your input, in my lives, and I would love for you to, basically you know, I love to have you around. So yeah, that would make me really happy in terms of making sure I basically have a great audience to go through what it is I'm showing here for your enjoyment. But speaking of enjoyment, I hope you're having a great day today, wherever you are. Hope your week has been great. Hope your family is great. Hope you are great. Hope you woke up on the right side of your bed today. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're having a great time, whatever you're doing. And if you're watching, thanks a lot. Really, really appreciate it. So let me check what we're gonna do. Maybe I'll just use a stencil. I think I have some here. Nothing too elaborate. Yeah, I don't think I have any saved to the side. So let me peruse my collection of stuff here and see if I can find anything that would be useful. Let's add some quick stuff. Okay, so I believe I have some kind of brush pack that will give me what I want. Let's have a gander. I think it's below. Let me go below and maybe if I can find a good brush pack. I have quite a few of them. So I'm using Color Painter. You can use any software of your choice to draw what you need to draw for yourself. I'm using Color Painter because it's compatible with my streaming software to a decent extent. It's something that makes my life easier when I try to set it up compared to other ones. So I tend to stick with it just for convenience reasons, but because I'm not really a software guy in terms of like I have to stick to one software. I'm kind of software agnostic. I use any software that makes sense to me. That's how I roll. And right now I'm using Corel Painter. I might decide to use Corel Painter for the duration of time I make videos online. We'll see. I think it gives me some decent options. I did remember spending a decent amount getting some good brushes. This stuff I tend to do offline. That's why I tend to not want to bother you guys with this stuff. And I just do it offline. Maybe I should just not bother using the stencil and just do some stuff on my own. I think I remember a brush pack. I just don't seem to know where I kept it now. Nothing. Can't seem to. It doesn't click in my head where I kept my brushes. Just gonna go through them. Okay, trying to see something decent. Okay, checking to see if there's anything here that's going to be useful to me. Do it quick. Basically, this is what I'm talking about. Like, when you understand your software, you can get brushes that you feel will be useful for you. I'm not using it for a while, so I'm not entirely sure what everything I need is like I used to. So I just have to have a look through and see if anything sticks out. Okay. It's okay, it was a bit too straight for my liking. I might do the job still. Yeah, probably do this with a regular brush still. So that's something quick, something. Actually, this is what I want, to be honest. So before I do anything else, I'm just gonna make a copy of that brush. That's why you need to go through and organize your brush packs, because you never know which one you're gonna like. You may just happen across a brush that you love, and then you don't know where it is again, and that kind of happens to me a fair few times. But best way to mitigate that is to go around, select what you want, and then save it to your own brush folder. That's what I tend to do. What I try to avoid is having too many brushes. In my last video, you saw how I drew everything by hand, but this time around I'm using stencils, just to let you know that it is possible to use stencils. And I'm just doing whatever I want here. I'm not trying to make it uniform, but trying to make you understand that you can actually do stuff like this. And it is possible to make some really cool effects with some stencils, and makes your paint life easier. And those are the joys of painting on digital as against painting on traditional. Everyone knows you can do everything. Everything that we do on traditional is what's been mimicked in digital. However, the ease of use is what I'm referring to. So you have the ability to use a bunch of different things for yourself. Now this one is a bit testy because I have this layer below. So if I'm going to do another layer, you have to be on top of this dock. So let's do another grass layer. That's on top. I'm doing this so when I do paint, it's not going to be hidden by the dock layer, as I'm sure you're already aware what I'm trying to achieve. So you can see now it's going above the dock layer and it's showing up exactly how I want it to show up. So my previous drawing, these characters were in the scene. Well, they could be different characters, they're not exactly the same characters, or they could be the same characters. Does it really matter? It does to me though, because I do love to have a story behind every drawing. So let's say these characters were the ones I drew previously, and basically they were in a place that had a dock. This is the dock they're on now. You can see that the grass is a bit more granular. You can see the different strands and strings of the grass in comparison. So I just need something that's straightforward. I don't need anything too elaborate. This one gives me more control. I believe I was looking for another grass thing. That one is a bit harder to control. This one gives me more control. It makes it looks a bit more, it looks like a bit robotic. It'd be nice if it had a bit of a lean to it, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. I'm kind of happy with it, so I don't think I'll do any more of those. I will do a bit more on the other side because I want the grass to kind of separate him from the background. Well, just for that reason alone, I will raise up the grass to be up here. So you can see that separation between him and the water. I have some high grass here too, just to make sure that it's kind of even. So guys, hope you're enjoying this art piece. I'm showing you that it's possible for you to do stuff like this on digital. If you're a traditional artist, you've not made the move to digital, then you should make the move to digital just so you can enjoy doing things like this, like you do on your art pieces, doesn't mean you're going to stop doing traditional. It just means that you have another avenue to express yourself. And that's the whole point, right? It's about expression. Strange. Right, so I'm just gonna check something here. Everything looks fine. Have any questions? Put it in the chat. Let me know how you feel. We'll talk about a lot of stuff here. And it's an arts channel, so you're very free to ask any queries you have about art and whatnot. Any suggestions? Nobody's an island. Thank God for another day of life. I hope you guys are cool. Hope you guys are great wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Right, I'm just thinking now, what do I do next? I think I should go straight to the water side of things now. But before I do that, actually, I need to give some reflections. So I believe, yeah. So I'll make another layer above the grass layer. And you know what happens when I have enough layers? I will very likely put them into a group, or I might not, because I'm more or less close to the end of this piece. So I'm going to put another layer above above the grass, the greenery. I'm going to put one above the greenery layer, and I'm going to call it reflections. This is just for the aesthetic of having a reflection. If you have a surface that reflects light, like water, like glass, then you need to have your reflections in order. If you look at my pieces that have to do with reflective surfaces, you will see that there's going to be a reflection on there. I do try to keep faithful to that. Because not every time I ignore reality. Reality is more interesting than fiction, to be honest. So I'm going to go back to my usual brush. I will select the concept jitter brush. It makes my life so much easier. I'm going to make sure I get what I want done and get it done in the most stylish way possible. This is my beloved concept art jitter brush. Yay! Right, so I need to select the right color, and I'm thinking what would be the ideal. Pretty. Yep, a dark brown, something to that effect, or black. I think black would be ideal. Let's go to the brown section. Well, let me just do a color pick of this. We go to the darks, the dark section, and let me see what's dark enough. Much better. Much better. Let me see if I can do this relatively quickly. I will reduce the size of my brush using my bracket keys. You know what that is? It's next to your enter key. The square brackets, by the way. Sorry for being a bit cryptic. Yeah, so do this. So this is like a representation of the shadow of what's on top to what's below, the reflection on the water below. We're still undecided how I'm going to pull it off, to be honest. We still have to do some work offline, but you have a general idea what I'm trying to achieve. I'm going to do a color pick like this. I'm going to, I should hopefully, I'm going to have to reduce my brush size again. Let's reduce it further. Well, the color jitter brush is pressure sensitive, so I can make it light, I can make it dark as needed. And that's pretty much it. It's supposed to be a reflection. Yeah, with the angle of the sun, it should be going somewhere else. If I do this, it's gonna be below it. That should be okay, I guess. To continue the shadow here. Yeah, that's about right. That should be enough. With this, I will make a change to my blend mode for that and see what we can derive. Misra overlay. No, that's a bit better. Much better. Probably still mess with the opacity of it, but I think we'll stick with that for now. And yeah, we're getting closer. So from here, I will now look at doing her fishing pole. Getting that one sorted out. I will likely use a different kind of brush for that one. So I'm not entirely sure what brush I'm going to use for the fishing pole. I want something that's going to give me details, because I need details, and Sketcher is decent. think I still have dark selected. Let me see how this goes. Yep. So this should go above everything. Yeah, so this fishing pole can go above everything. So I'm going to put it on the top, an upper layer. I'm going to keep it fairly basic. I don't really do fishing, so I'm not sure if I remember how to draw a fishing pole, but I'll do my best. So I could probably bring up my stuff again, but I don't think I will. Or just draw it. It's not going to be too out of place. I'm just renaming it to fishing pole. I don't want any confusion, even though I won't be confused, but you know, I like to make things clear. That's why I use capital letters. I need a holistic view of this to make sure I can get something decent. Let me just give it a rough test. Let's try that fishing pole again. I'm not sure I'm not getting that initial stroke. There we go. Press it a bit harder. Important is coming out of our hand. Okay, so do I keep stopping short? I'm not entirely sure why. Let's try and do this first part again. Yeah, I think I got good. Go for a lighter shade. I think I like this brush. It's my new sketcher brush. Not for maybe for sketching, I don't know, we'll see. I think it does a good job. Decent. Just kind of dark. Okay. Guys, hope you're enjoying this. And just coming to the channel, this is Yazat. My name is Yazat, and I'm as an author, and I'm doing this art piece to show people that it's possible for you to actually do this on computer, even if you don't have the experience. And it's something that I feel would be useful to those who want to learn how to do it. One of the reasons why I do this, to show that it is possible for you to come on and do this. Thank God for giving me the strength and the wherewithal to come out here and show you guys this stuff. So I'm grateful, and I hope you guys will get something out of this. Basically, I'm just lining this like it's supposed to be shining. Make it a bit big because this is tiny details. Let's have this here. This will be on the other side, but just don't want to block the hands. Okay, with sunshine, lights, water. Yeah, good. I think that's what I need. And then I can go to the water now. To go back all the way back. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to put my next layer. So hopefully we are close to the end of this And basically, I'm not kind of rushing. I'm just trying to show you that, yeah, you can actually do this. And that you don't have to have all the experience in the world to do it. Because when I started it was kind of like this, just going inside and coloring and doing certain things. Over time, you focus a lot more on certain things to make your drawing look more realistic, a little more attractive. You can focus on like shadows, shading, where the sun is, pointing at the characters. I tend to focus on those things sometimes, not all the time. It's not a deal breaker for me when it comes to doing art. So art is, for me, is a process I just express myself in. When I do it, I love realism, right? I love realism as much as the next guy, but a lot of times when I do this stuff, I'm not choked by it. Let's just put it that way. I love realism, but I'm not choked by it. So it's something I feel that you should just be free and you just go in and do what you want to do and just express yourself and show what you're capable of doing. But to yourself, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody. And yeah, along the line, you find your voice, and people will have to give you you have to recognize what you're doing because you have your own style. You're not like trying to be someone else. And there's nothing wrong with trying to be someone else as long as you're learning from that experience. It's a learning experience, and it's something that you have to focus on. It's the learning aspect of things because there's so many great artists out there. It would be foolish for you to not try to look at the good things they do well and try to emulate it. So personally, I do believe very much so that you going out there and you learning from people. This is what I've done my whole life. I've learning art since I was a kid. I learned majority of my art skills from just looking at the world. Looking at the world that God made and just seeing how things are and taking note of these things and just understanding fundamentally the human body, how the human body works, how the human body moves, the angles, all these things. Simple things like this can be kind of like a game changer for your art. So I've also learned from like looking at other things, like maybe like movies, comics. Comics was a big one for me. So if you look at my art style, it can be comic-y. Sometimes I can draw realistic as well. This is one of those drawings, but I do love the comic style of drawing, and it's something I tend to do from time to time because it's a real thing. It's a real like neck turner. If you know what you're doing, you know how to put those necessary pieces. It's like a puzzle. People look at your drawing and they try to follow the pieces as to where they're going, and you give people something they never expected to have. So yeah, I'm gonna go below here. Right, so we're gonna make it above this. This should maybe be the final layer I'll be needing, unless I think of something else to do. Let's see. Reflections. So it's going to be a good one. It looks like everything is wavy. Okay, so let me think. What brush? I think I'm going back to my trusty Sargent brush. Let's go back to Sargent. As you can see, I've not used that many different brushes. I just stick to one brush. I used that brush for pretty much everything you see on the screen except for the mud floor and maybe the fishes as well. I drew the fishes using my concept agitator brush, and I got a stencil for the grass, and that's pretty much it. I didn't have that many brushes, and that's the point I'm trying to show you, that you can also have like tens of brushes in one piece. It just depends on what you're trying to achieve. My goal here is just to draw simple, straightforward pieces that, you know, give you a great feeling when you see it, invoke something inside you when you see it. I tell a story. That's what I would like to teach on my end. It's like every piece that you draw should tell a story. Or most pieces. It doesn't have to be every single piece, but for me, like, every piece I do tells a story. Every piece I do has a greater meaning, or connected to something, or tied to something. That's, I think, is like my artistic background that basically necessitates that for me. I feel like it's important for me to have a reason for certain characters to do certain things. I'm not really the biggest fan of just drawing random stuff and just putting it today. I like to have a story I'm telling. I like to have something going on with those characters. And if you look around my work, my body of work, it wouldn't take you long to figure out what the inspiration for those stories are, what those characters are. And you look around certain things in your life as well, what your own experiences are growing up. You can tell that basically, yeah, these are things that you have gone through that will be useful to you. And sometimes you want to depict those things. Actually, I need to go all white for this particular layer. Is it me, or does this not look like white? So it doesn't really matter. It don't matter. Right, so let's start this off with what's around here. A massaging brush. Hopefully it shouldn't fail me. It's gonna do a bit of a save. Like I always told you guys, always be very mindful of saving your work constantly. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm increasing the pressure of my brush and releasing it as I go. Give you guys a good idea what is and what isn't. So when you press your brush harder, then it goes bigger. So when you've trained yourself, you can basically do strokes like that where you can actually vary the size of your strokes, and that is where the real artistic stuff comes in. You can do some very nice stuff that is very eye-catching. You seeing the scene now? Is it coming alive? Did you figure it out now? So basically, yeah, this is like perspective. This is about perspective. So a lot of times when you are in the sea, being on the sides of the sea, you don't really see the bottom of the sea and so on. You just see blue, right? About that body of water, that the way it reflects light and whatnot. But when you are like doing some fishing and you're just like in a little river, when you're at the bank, you can see into it. And that's what I thought about when I was like, usually when you're at the river, you don't usually see, you can actually see inside it if you look. So I cannot understand why I would draw a blue ocean looking thing when typically you can actually see inside what it's doing. That's something I find quite riveting. You try to replicate things that you remember. So this is just from my own memory. And I sit, I go to the village, I stay in front of the river, or go to get some water from the river. You just look into it and you're just like, You can see into it. And when you look at the depths, it looks like it's close, right? It looks like it's not deep, but it's actually very deep. So the way the water bends light makes you think things are very shallow. In reality, it's not actually very shallow. It's actually pretty deep. That's all the stuff I try to replicate here. Because reality is always more beautiful than imagination. More beautiful than anything you can ever think of. So there's like subtle nuances like this, I think, is what captures people's attention compared to like drawing something that's like ultra realistic. I do draw stuff ultra realistic, so I can do that as well. It takes a lot of effort, and yeah, it takes a lot of time. That's the beauty of it. I see a lot of vector styles. Why vectors are so attractive? Because vectors are clearly a cartoon style, right? And by the way, I love vectors, and I would likely do some vectors on here as well. I don't know how I'm going to do it because my software is not compatible. So that's my check, unless I'm wrong. My software is not compatible with my streaming software. So it's a bit testy for me. I don't like anything other than a certain kind of setup. It kind of keeps me grounded and keeps me focused. Whenever things are like that, I have all sorts of things happening. I may start to get a bit distracted and a bit unaware as to what is what and where everything is. So I prefer to have a certain setup, and that setup works for me. Okay, I think we're more or less done. And something here. Let's come down. Okay, so two things. I'm trying to see which then what I can use that makes sense. Overlay comes to mind. Let's see. There's two of them. Overlay your screen. Let me try either of the two. Then we call it a day. Let's try a screen first and see how that goes. Oh no, that's not what I want. Try overlay. Much better. I have to do the work myself. However, actually it's not better because it's not what I want. I'm gonna have to try, or maybe it is, but let me just try something else. It's a simple opacity change. Yeah, that's a bit better because I don't want it taking on the color of the environment. I want it to stay white. You see. Just saving it to make sure everything is where it should be. So I'm going to check and see. This is not bad. I'll try a different opacity. That's better, I think. Go a bit lower. Now they try and find the sweet spot. This is kind of what it was before with overlay, and I decided to remove it from overlay. Right, this is not bad, but I'm gonna even try and go even lower. But first, I'm gonna probably duplicate the layer and see if I can do it in a different layer. Go as low as I can and see what I can get away with. Right, so let's go lower. Subtle, maybe better. Let's go even lower. Right, I don't think it makes any difference really. Right, so I'm gonna undo that. I think this might be a bit better. I have an idea, but none of it will work. I'll probably be going with this one. I'm gonna check this, delete it, go with this one, name that one as well. More reflect. Okay, I don't know if I want to stick with my other brush. I believe I'm going back to my concept jitter brush. This. I'm going to go back to concept art jitter brush and see if I can do some stuff here. Okay. I can always erase if I have to, but let me try something I love to do. Might fall flat, might not. Something I tend to do when it comes to doing the eyes. I have a special way of doing eyes, which I kind of like have my own like special way of putting it together, but it's not like, yeah, it's like so basically my point is that a lot of artists out there are great at doing eyes, and for the longest time I wasn't that great at doing eyes. Then I started doing some more work on it, then I got decent, and I came up with my own style, and then I formulated a way to do things that's different. And basically what I tend to do is I tend to have a lot of reflections in the eyes. The eyes are very very unique. The eyes are very cool to look at. It might not be realistic, but that's what I tend to do, what I did to get things to look a certain kind of way. Okay. Right, so I could change the opacity even less. Just look at it. Usually in the past when I do my reflections, they're sharp edges, but These don't seem to be bad. Seem to be decent edges. I'd be mad at those, to be honest. So okay. I'm thinking again. Let's see. Just constant touch the brush and try something. Using my brush size to fit where I'm painting. As you can see, I'm going for some kind of volume with this. I was thinking what would be the best way to pull that off, and this is just me guessing and guessing on the fly. It hopefully seems to be doing what I needed to do. If I want the water to have some volume, like some volume of water being pushed around by the waves from the river, pushing against the dock. Not being too noticeable. Ooh. Okay, so I believe this piece is more or less finished. There's not really much else for me to add I can think of. The things I wanted to do, I kind of achieved the effect through a different way. I didn't expect to achieve the effect. I might have to play around with the reflection, the rings, in terms of the reflection of them and how sharp it is, but you're just trying to imitate water. You have reflections of water that's very sharp, very distinct. You try to get that look. And yeah, it's basically trying to make sure that you get something that makes people think, something that's close to reality. And I'm not trying to make something that's overly complicated, so anyone who's following me can see, but it's still complicated because it still takes time to get this stuff, put it together, decide where you're going to put everything. As you can see, it takes a lot to actually organize your layers and put your layers to be where you feel they should be. I already have a good idea where I'm going to put my layers, so that helps me get that organized and get that in a good place. So basically, this is something that is supposed to show you that you can pretty much do anything in terms of like drawing what you want and just putting that stuff on paper. Even if people don't agree with your art style, you're getting a reaction, and sometimes it may not be the reaction that you like, but a lot of times people don't tend to give reactions that you will like in things that you love to do. So if you're waiting for people to validate you, you're gonna wait for a really, really long time. So my suggestion would be just keep going, keep working on yourself, keep improving. I've been working on this for a long time, and I myself, I do this so I can improve. I can learn new things, I can learn new skills and whatnot. That's one of the reasons why I do this. Of course, I do it to help. I do it to show people, like traditional artists, that it's possible for you to move the digital. It's possible for you to move your work to the digital platform. And it's something that you can easily do. It's not rocket science. You just have to get used to the terms, get used to the tools. As you can see, I just select tools from two sides. I go to my left, which is my toolbar. Then on the top is the context toolbar. And then on the right is where I have extra stuff like my palette, my layers, and other things, channel information, all this stuff. You don't have to use majority of those things to get stuck into what you're doing here. Just basically go in and do what you want to do and learn like anybody else would learn. Like nobody is the be-all and end-all of everything. Like nobody knows everything, so you don't go in there thinking that you're gonna get castigated because somebody out there was better than you. A lot of people out there, being better is subjective. There's guys like Robert Crumb. If you look at his style of drawing, some people today will look at that and think, "Oh, this guy is a bad artist." Anybody who knows Robert Crumb knows that his style is amazing for what he does. Yeah, guy's like one of the premier graphic novelists out there. And yeah, I think he won an Eisner Award and stuff like this. So the guy is like, revered, and there's so many of them like that, so many kind of specific drawing styles. Even like books like Archie, I think people read Archie comics and stuff. Books like this, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, when they started off, they were not for kids. It was a book that was just like any other comic book. That's a misconception a lot of people tend to have, and they think that comic books are for children. And is it for children? So basically, a lot of these things, they have specific art styles, and everybody has the art styles, and a lot of people are loved for the art styles. Another guy I can mention who a lot of people probably never mentioned is a guy called Mike Parabek. I don't know if anybody knows him, but the guy is no longer with us. May he remain blessed. That guy's art was very, very distinctive. It's very, very distinctive art styles. They're the kind of art styles that I've seen, in some way, form, or fashion. I wouldn't say they influenced me, but I had to appreciate. I had to like tip my hat to these guys, And the guy that draws, I'm not even sure what his name is, but the guy who drew Black Panther comics as well. It was a run that he was drawing, guy that looks like me. Very amazing drawing style. Also another guy, who made a comic called Hardware. The drawing style in that comic as well was very unique. Hardware is a character that is not often spoken of, but when he was around, it was very, very influential. I think there's another character. I can't remember what his name is. Why his name escapes me, but he's like some kind of cyborg. As in, I don't know, because a lot of you guys, I'm not sure if a lot of you read comics, but there's a comics out there where it's like there's a comics out there that were raining then, like RoboCop comics and stuff, and there was this kind of like character. I think it was in Marvel. I can't remember what his name is, but he was a dark-skinned guy. He is a cyborg. He had like half of his face. He looked like Cyborg in DC, but half of his face, he didn't have any hair on his head or anything. You know, I can't remember his name, but that character was so good. I don't hear much about him anymore these days. You know, a lot of guys like that, and the art style they drew. One of the reason why I bring it up is the art style that they drew for that character. The art style, the artist that drew that character was amazing. I can mention a whole slew of artists, but that's maybe a story for another day. If you guys request, you guys have a chat about it, then I can obviously mention it. A lot of the comic styles I mentioned come from the 80s, 90s era. So those are the styles that I knew then. Those are the guys that knew what comics were. If you ask me, that's when comics were comics, man. Honestly, that's when the good. I didn't say the golden age of comics. For me, the golden age of comics was from the 1980s till the mid 2000s, or mid to late 2000s. That was the golden age of comics, and there's still epics that they have in these comics that they are probably yet to do in DC. But I'm pretty sure they're on their table. And every epic I read that was worthy of note then became a movie today. So I don't really see the recent arcs becoming epics like the old ones. All the arcs people are going into the cinema to enjoy. As you know, the guys who direct these movies also read comics too. So that era of comic writing was also their era too. So they knew that these are the comics and these are the ones that if they ever did become directors, these are the ones they would love to make stories about. And that's what we are seeing a lot of in these movies and stuff today with Marvel and with DC and stuff. It's those same comics that were made in the 90s and 80s. You know, all of them are the ones that they're all using as their source material now to make stories till today. You know, one of the examples I can give is like the Long Halloween, you know, with Batman. That comic came out in the 80s, I think, or 90s. I can't remember which decade. Is it like 80s or 90s? But that comic is well old. But when they come out, it was like that was like the era of Batman. Like Batman was more popular than Superman, even though Superman obviously his reign over comics was ridiculous because he had like 4 separate issues, you know. I think every week, I think every week was a different issue, but every month they had like 4 separate comics. That's how popular, Superman was. But man also had quite a few. I think I had like 3 or 4 as well. So yeah, so they're both like the mainstays, and they found a way to keep those stories aligned, even though some of them were like Elseworld stories and some of them were like really, really out there. But they always find a way to keep those characters aligned. And they did a very good job of it, if you ask me. So I can't think of any comic of note this day that comes close to anything you see. Even when it comes to Spider-Man and Morbius, when they wanted to bring up Morbius to be one of Spider-Man's enemies, that was a comic from, I think, the 2000s. That was an arc that was successful in the 2000s. And you have one that has to do with the Alien Spider-Man and Venom, the Venom arc. That all came from the 90s. All those stories, all those arcs are all like gobbling up in the cinemas. They all came up decades ago. I don't really see any arcs now that is being done that's actually taking up any sort of space in the cinema or in DC or Marvel or any of these companies. They're not bothering these new stories. I don't think they feel like those stories are proven. I think what they're focusing on is the fan favorites, those stories that have been accepted as what do they call this now? Those are the great stories, those are the epic stories. Those are the stories that fans have said, yep, if they were to make a movie, this is the one they should make. And there's so many people out there who are very knowledgeable in comics. I don't see myself as being super knowledgeable, but I know one or two things about comics. portion. Cool. Welcome, Mr. Bot. Nice to have some viewers. Mr. Bot. So basically, yeah, as I was saying, that's kind of what it is. You have a lot of these comic makers making all kinds of stuff these days that nobody seems to be reading. I don't know why they keep making the comics though. Like, if the comics just don't make sense anymore, why keep making them? But I think they do have some arcs that people like. I do have people I know that still buy comics, so yeah. People are nostalgic, right? And I get it. I'm like that too, but I like a good story. The stories that do break up for me, not the characters. Characters are cool, costumes are cool, but at the end of the day, a good story is what matters to me. So I need to have a good story to be able to get into whatever the character is, whatever they're doing. If the story doesn't really tally with me, then I have no interest in reading it, even if it's like the most popular character in the world. Even the most popular character on earth, I wouldn't really be too concerned about going in and reading it, to be honest. At the end of the day, you have to have a good story, and that's what they're leaning into whenever they go back and reach into the archives and pull out these comics, So yeah, a lot of these comics are from the old school, and those are the ones that seem to be holding people's attention. The new ones, nobody knows about them, nobody hears about them, because a lot of them are gimmicky. When I say gimmicky, it's like they're based off stuff that is like this is not what comics used to be about. Comics was not really about shock value or trying to kill people or having this big massive event where you just randomly just have a lot of blood and guts on the screen. It wasn't about that in the old days. And to an extent, it's welcome. We used to have like alternative publishers that used to publish more adult content, even in terms of the regular characters of the comics. Dark Horse comes to mind. So yeah, Dark Horse has published a lot of different comics, even Asian ones. I think they published Ghost in the Shell as well. They published a lot of the Dark Horse was the age then. Published a lot of really, really in-depth comics, and they did a lot of work. Basically, those comics were the ones that people were going for, and these days you rarely ever see that level of fanfare. Like, there was a time I used to follow comics. I used to follow some comic guys, and you find a lot of them are closing up shop, and it's like, why are you closing up shop? It's like, oh, dude, they don't really have the comics these days. They have to go back and reach back and buy the old ones, and the old ones are becoming antiquated in terms of the fact that they're becoming like collector's items. So it's going to be hard to get those prints and sell them for a decent price. So basically, yeah, some people collect comics, and some people sell those comics for a great price. So as in that's to show you like the level. Like, some comics are really that revered that if you do have like collections of them, you could sell them for a good price, for a decent amount of money. It's like some people buy like cards. It's the same thing with comics. You have that certain comics in mint condition, you can make a decent amount of money off it. How many comics do you see these days where you find that happening? And yeah, it's like everything is changed. There seems to be a bit of an agenda going on where you have to have specific things in your stories, and they have to be shoehorned into your stories, otherwise you won't have a story. And it's like, people don't really like that sort of thing, because it kind of goes against the story. It kind of is bad storytelling when you try to force something into a story that doesn't have any business being there. And it's like, nobody wants it, nobody asks for it, and it's also killing the movie division as well. But I think it kind of got popularized through the movie division. and then it filtered down to the comics, and the comics became unsellable, and nobody was buying comics anymore, and a lot of comic shops were closing, a lot of damage control, a lot of people who you wouldn't expect, coming out and saying that everything is fine, but everything wasn't fine. Everything was like in a shambles, and it just simply comes back to what I said, storytelling. Like, if you're just there to tell your story, tell your story. You don't have to add anything to it. You have to add an agenda, you don't have to add anything. Just tell your story, let people enjoy the story for what it is. Leave the agendas at home, tell the story. Let people enjoy the story for what it is, and that's it. But unfortunately, I think maybe companies got tired of making money. I don't know what it is. I have no idea how board meetings and companies that goes. Like, when you can clearly see that something is going to happen, it's going to be favorable for your company, and you're like, yep, we're going down this route, and this is the hill we're going to die on. And you're just thinking to yourself, like, I don't get it. Why are we going down a route that we know fails? Every time we go on this route, it fails. Every time we try to do this, it fails. Why don't I just focus on what the fans want at the very least? Look at what Ryan Reynolds is doing. I mentioned this in a previous slide before, and spoiler alert, regarding Deadpool and Wolverine. They actually brought in Blade, with the Snipes, and that's like when I seen the box office, it was like 1 billion, 1.3 billion. I was like, wow, I didn't make 1.3 billion. An R-rated movie make 1.3 billion, but it did. And then when I learned that Blade was in there, I was like, which Blade? And it's like Wesley Snipes. I didn't ask which Blade. I knew it was Wesley Snipes. I saw a short in it. I was like, wow, that explains why it made 1 billion plus, because someone is actually using their noggin and they're not focusing on spreading agendas. So yeah, man, like, I'm not here to tell companies to make money or not make money. I'm just saying, like, just do the right thing and things will generally work in your favor. And don't push things that you don't need to be pushing. Just put out what people want, give them what they want, kind of like what happened with Gillette. They were doing things that guys didn't like, and Gillette is a man brand. It's like a man's man brand, and that kind of rubbed men the wrong way, and nobody really hears about Gillette these days. My dad used to use Gillette. Everybody I know used to use Gillette. It just makes you wonder, like, what would possess someone to say or do certain things like that, to just pour sand in your soup. I don't understand that. I try to figure it out sometimes. It just makes no sense to me. You have a good thing going. I think that stock price was like in the billions, or I don't know about trillions, but it was definitely the billions. So I don't know. It did something, and then everybody just stopped buying Gillettes. So yeah, man, people need to just, I don't know, wake up, I guess. If you really like to make money, as I think companies like to make money, then hopefully they should do things that involves making money, which is like just giving people what they want. And it should be fairly simple. You have the resources, you have the writers, you have the actors. Just go in and write a script that people are going to like. Test screen it, see if people like it. Invite people from the comic scene who are respected, who are not biased. Get their input on it. This was my own suggestion. Get their input on it, see what they think about it. If they like it, put it out. If they don't like it, then you go back to the drawing board. Just keep doing it. And if possible, involve them. Maybe even pay them like a stipend. So, we're going to give you like 10K. Just help us do this. Help us do that, Give us your input. Tell us what you'd like to see in the movie. I know that too many cooks, can spoil the broth, but ideas never hurt, man. If you have a slew of ideas and you have a lot to choose from, so it can never hurt you to have ideas. 2 heads are better than 1. That's what they say, and that, I think, should increase exponentially with numbers. With the numbers, you have a lot of great people who know exactly what they're doing, and they are not biased, and they don't have agendas in their heads. They don't already have in their head what they want to say before you say anything. Those are the kind of people you need to have around that can plan things for you, and they can stop wasting your money, stop wasting your funds, and just focus on, giving people a good product. So that's my own suggestion on that. And it's like, we've reached the end of today's presentation. As you can see, we finished this art piece. You were here from the get-go. I don't know, I believe my first entry into this scene, into this art piece, should still be on Twitch. It should still be available because it's available for 7 days. I've been drawing this now for a week. I believe I started it on Friday. I don't think it will still exist. Yeah, it will not exist because this is Friday. So as of yesterday, it probably would have still existed, but as of today, not so much. But you won't probably miss too much there. I just probably did a sketch or whatever, but you can go through the whole series, just breeze through it to have an idea about how to draw stuff like this. And down the line, I would look to compile stuff and put it on my website as training videos or compilation videos that you can purchase and download for yourself to use for personal use. So I will give these resources to you so you can be able to, get your drawing game up and be able to apply yourself and understand that it's not rocket science to use digital software for yourself, be able to apply your skills, bring those skills that you have learned over those long, arduous years of drawing traditional into the digital world, and you can do it relatively easily. Get your canvas up, select the canvas, select the resolution. Once you set that up, get your brush, select your color, set your layer, and you're away. Game, set, match. Just in case you're joining, we're at the end of this live. My name is Yazat, artist and author. I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. Typically, I go a bit longer, but since we're at the end today, might as well just call it for today. I have a few things to take care of on my end as well. I'm happy that I was able to make it today. I had some things to take care of as well at the beginning of things. I wasn't sure I'll make it today, but thank God we made it. And I will make it next week by Monday, 9:30. All things being equal, as God blesses me. And I pray that God blesses you as well. Feel free to go to my website, which is yazat.me. It's spelled yazart.me. It's spelled yazart.me. So that is somewhere you can go to see what I have on offer. I've got a horror series called The Judgment Land Saga. It's a 4-part chapter, and it's a great story. If you love that sort of storytelling about horror and stuff, you would love it. And you can download it on the website for a good price. I've got previews available on the website as well. Once you click through, there's a trailer as well. You can go through that trailer and have an audio listening from me. I have an author reading. If you have quite a few author readings on there, so you can go through those. Go through some videos I've compiled on there as well for this. Couple of trailers, the whole hog, everything is on there. So you just go through and enjoy the experience. I've also got a music album called The 12 Tribes of Yesharala. It can be listened to. It can also be downloaded for yourself for a fee as well. There's also merchandise available with t-shirts with my art pieces on, phone cases, notebooks, art prints, canvases, blankets, tote bags. There's also stationery as well available on the website. Once you click through, you see what kind of stationery it is and how beautifully designed those are. And you can also click a link for your own specific country to go to Amazon to buy the books in question, which are very, very competitively priced. So the prices are there, and the prices have been reduced. So those are the lowest prices you ever get those books on this website, and you're very free to go on through and buy. This will be gratefully this will be greatly helpful for me, and I would really love that you do that. And I really appreciate you showing up here today. Name is Yazat. Thank you for showing up, and I hope you have a great day. Over and out. God bless. Ciao.